Um, what happened to this man? Does anyone know the story, Friedrich Nietzsche?
No.
Tell us.
He couldn't find a plausible explanation or plausible logic to prove beyond reasonable doubt that God didn't exist. So he lost his mind, and he died as a result of a severe brain hemorrhage. It's true story. So Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche's ultimate will to truth was his ultimate will to death, because he couldn't find it. He couldn't find the truth. A higher level of faith in Islam is that of yaqeen, which is not just, oh yeah, it could be true and maybe it's false. Does anyone know the definition of yaqeen?
Certainty.
Certainty, very good, yeah. That actually takes like 5-6 minutes off the lecture. Anyone else? Okay, so it's closer to the idea of certainty, as the sister just said. It's the highest level of yaqeen is what we attribute to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his progeny.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
It's the idea that if it were possible to see God, it would not give any more justification for their faith. So seeing God wouldn't bring their iman any closer. It wouldn't give them any more yaqeen than they already have. And we can reach this level of yaqeen, brothers and sisters. We don't have to have asma imamiyya or wilaya takwiniyya to have this level of yaqeen. Darwin's theory of evolution. Evolution is the idea that over an extended period of time, living beings adapt, adjust biologically and physically as a result of changing conditions of life. Example, land creatures growing wings, or flying creatures learning to swim, or other animals growing an extra limb or growing tails, or that kind of thing. Is this idea completely refuted in Islam? What do you guys think? It's not refuted in Islam? Yes, no, maybe?
No, it's not.
It's not? Anyone else?
Why? What's the? If it is refuted, on what basis?
I'm just putting it out there. Anyone else? Okay. Sorry? Again, something?
Microevolution is not, but macro is.
Okay. Give us shed more light on that. What's micro and what's macro?
So micro, like Darwin's observation of the beaks changing, that's microevolution, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But macroevolution, like a bacteria eventually becomes a human, probably not.
Okay. Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 30. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلُّ شَيْءٍ حَيًّا. Sorry. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلُّ شَيْءٍ حَيًّا. We have created from water everything that lives. Some interpretations of this verse suggests that water can potentially harbor biological elements. The theory of evolution suggests that early life manifested itself as bacteria in water, just like Muhammad just mentioned. This poses a controversial question. If animals can potentially have evolved over time, is it possible that this theory could be applicable to Homo sapiens or humans? Muhammad? Your answer is obviously no.
Yeah.
This is just my research. This is not my opinion. I hope people don't leave here saying Aymen thinks we're bacterial. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just instigating and facilitating discussion. So what do people think about this?
Well, in some ideas of the theory of evolution is that we didn't necessarily evolve from apes or Homo sapiens. We just share a common ancestor. Now, whether that, I don't know how that implies that we came from apes, or some people think like that, but I mean, we could throw anything in there and say that maybe when Allah cursed the certain people in the Quran, He intended them to apes, it could do that as well. I mean,
Yeah. Okay, so let's say that humans, I mean, we have reason to believe, we have hadith that says that there were some prophets that were 30 feet or 40 feet tall. I mean, is it beyond the realm of possibility that humans had an extra limb or a tail, for example, back in the day?
so the Shiites
Question.
Yes, follow.
The Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that humans are the best of creation.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is it? The one with the extra limb or now?
Ah, that's a very good one. A very good question. We haven't quite established that humans had an extra limb, but if that were possible, you're right. Who would be the greater being? I mean, we always look to the Ahlul Bayt and the Prophet ﷺ for examples for this kind of thing. So, according to what we have, the Prophets were, and the Ahlul Bayt were normal beings, arms and legs and that kind of thing. So, you'd only assume that we have been preferred in that regard. That the current form of the human beings is the correct form and the form that God has favored. We do have riwayat that say that, for example, Imam Abbas alayhi salam was quite tall, that when he would be on horseback, his legs will still reach the floor. So bringing it back to biology, does anyone know how much of the human body is made up of water?
70%.
There you go. So that's bringing it back to what we were talking about before with the ayah. We created from water everything that lives. So does that bear any significance to that statistic or to that fact? The fact that 70% of our body is made up of water.
Just one thing.
Yes.
With this verse, جعلنا is not خلقنا. So جعلنا means
That's right.
It doesn't mean create. It means it's everything depends on it.
That's right. Well, the reference that I looked up, the reference I got from Hajj Tayyib actually, the English translation said that it means that we created from. Can anyone look up that translation? Actually, that's a very good point, brother. Look up it's verse 21 actually, ayah 30. Okay, so if we look at the three great religions generally, the common theme about the initiation of life is the Adam and Eve narrative. However, if we delve deeper into Shiism and theology, there is reason to believe, within the realm of probability, that there was life before Adam. Some myths and narrations trace back to conversations between the Prophet and his companions, suggest that there could have been 1,000 Adams before Adam. People are probably familiar with this. To take it even further, there's nothing in Islamic mythology that denies the idea of worlds beyond our own, and even life in worlds beyond our own. So, I won't take too much of your time, I'm just putting that out there. And آخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.